Welcome back to episode 9 of the Adventures in Adversity podcast. Today, I am going to do a quick episode. I was feeling inspired before I hit up my work day, and I was just thinking about fear of failure. And I thought, you know what? This applies to work, this applies to life, parenting, relationships, failing at parenting, failing at relationships, failing at work, failing anywhere, right? So I just thought I would kind of prime my brain and hopefully prime yours too for a day where you can just notice and be aware of the moments where you have a fear of failure and know that I feel that too. So the next time you feel like you're scared to fail, just remember this episode that I feel it too. But lately, I've been able to notice it more and kind of step back from it and then kind of redirect it. And I see fear of failure, any kind of fear, as adversity, right? It's almost like a self-induced form of adversity when you fear failure, because you're really just telling yourself that something bad is going to happen if this project doesn't succeed, or this relationship doesn't succeed, or this whatever doesn't succeed. You have a fear of what that's going to feel like if you quote unquote fail, which actually isn't really a thing if you try something, right? Do you ever really fail if you gave it a shot? I don't know. Well, again, I said this is going to be a quick episode to get us in the mood to befriend our fear of failure and disarm it, right? So I'm going to go through a couple quotes about why we fear failure and kind of how we can handle it, right? All right, here we go. How many of us stop short of success on purpose? How many of us sabotage our own happiness because failure, while miserable, is a fear we're familiar with? Success, however, dreams come true, are a whole new kind of terrifying, an entire new species of responsibilities and disillusions, requiring a new way to think, act, and become. Why do we really quit? Because it's hopeless or because it's possible? That's from Jennifer DeLucy. That's pretty badass quote, right? It's almost like we stop short in the middle of a project or in the middle of a venture or in the middle of something we're doing because we're unsure. And we'd rather not risk failing, right? It's almost like we sabotage ourselves by stopping. I know I've done that where I've just start and stop. And I'm like, why are you stopping? Because you're afraid that I'm afraid that, like this podcast, I was afraid that when I put it out, what if nobody likes it? So it's almost like a self-sabotage when you stop, right? All right. This is from Leo Tolstoy. Let fear once get possession of the soul, and it does not readily yield its place to another sentiment. So for me, what comes up here is that if you kind of start to let that fear of failure or the fear of not being able to handle adversity that could come, if you let it take possession of you, it does not readily yield its place to another sentiment, meaning that's hard to kick, right? It's not impossible, right? You actually have to redirect your brain and you have to like physically get out of that fear state, go for a walk, shake it out, look yourself in the mirror, do mantras. You have to loosen fear's grip on yourself. I notice that when I'm able to kind of get it out of my body physically by doing something, I almost loosen its grip so it doesn't have that quote unquote possession of the soul, like he says, right? So just remember when that fear overtakes you, jump around, do something, try to get it out of there because it's not real. It's just overtaking you and it kind of paralyzes you. All right, here we go. William Arthur Ward. Failure is delay, but not defeat. It is a temporary detour, not a dead-end street. So it's really, honestly, if you never stop, that pop star movie, Never Stop, Never Stoppin', if you never stop, you're not going to fail because you keep trying. I mean, it makes total sense. It's a temporary detour, right? Everything is. If you stop, then you're done. But if you don't, you keep on going. Facts, right? Okay. Don't let the fear of failure stop you. The world needs your greatness. Emmanuel Apetzi. The world needs everybody to be themselves, right? And I feel like when we be ourselves and we follow what we actually really want to do, like this podcast, I really want to try it. You know, I've been dying to try it. Doesn't mean I'm like great, but everybody has something inside them they want to express or do or create or be. And if we all do that, then it's awesome because everyone's like super happy when they're expressing who they really want to be. So don't let the fear of failure stop you. I'm just going to record podcasts like it's 1999 up in here. I'm on episode 9. I got my 32 followers. I am chilling. But it's not about, I can't let the fear of this being successful or not, or a mean comment or a good comment, I can't let that drive me, right? I have to let the why of why I'm doing this, because I like expressing myself. I like connecting with people. I want my podcast to be healing the way that other podcasts have been for me over the past year. Actually, podcasts changed my life. And I want to be part of that community where a story on this podcast like redirects somebody's day. That's my goal. So it is not how heavy you fall, it is how fast you catch yourself. That's by Michael Bassey Johnson, Knight of 1,000 Thoughts. So we're going to fall. We're going to fail, quote unquote. Just get up. It's all about that rebound, right? All right. This, I think, is going to be a good one. Here we go. This is by Brandon Sanderson, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. Sorry, Ulrich, I whispered. I've learned to fear someone else more than I do you. He frowned. Who? The man I used to be. So it's almost like you're your own worst enemy, right? Like you can do more damage to yourself mentally, physically than anyone else can. If you let that fear of failure eat you alive, you're defenseless against adversity. But if you kind of learn to start the journey of what I'm kind of on, I feel like step 4 of a 1,000,000-mile journey of finding myself and being like utterly fearless. And it's a really empowering feeling. So I encourage you to do what I did and actually believe that you can do crazy stuff. Like I can host a podcast. You can have the job that you want. You can have the relationship you want. You can repair yourself. You can work on yourself. You can change traits that you don't like about yourself. I'm working on myself every day right now. And I'm not afraid to fail because it's only progress, right? I'm just, the thing I fear most is just staying who I used to be, right? Not confident, just someone who looked for external validation at work, at home, with my friends, just always putting my power in other people's hands and being afraid to fail at like getting that approval. Well, I'm done with that. And I hope that you will be too, because life is freaking amazing when you let go of that. So anyway, I'm done. It's time to get to work. I hope that this primed your brain to handle adversity and know that the fear of failure, it's all an illusion. Just freaking do it. Your friends and family and the good people in your life will support you no matter what happens with whatever venture you're afraid of failing at. So you learn a lot about yourself along the way too, I can tell you that. All right, take care, people. And remember, adversity is an adventure. All right, let's do this. Happy Wednesday. Peace.